Welcome back to the SOTA podcast. This is episode 17 of our second season. And as I explained kind of in our last episode, we're going to do some stuff a little bit different. There are three of us now, so we can alternate through. And so this episode, we kind of decided to let Tyler and Salina kind of have their first little solo little trial for them. But we have an amazing guest here with us. We have UNA Associate Professor of Art, Tennessee Benson. So welcome.
All right, thanks for having me.
And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then I'm going to step aside and let Salina and Tyler take it away. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. Yeah, well, great. Well, again, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to dialogue about what I love to do, and that's to teach and make art. And I don't know, anytime I get an opportunity, I jump at it just to be able to share my passion with others. So thanks again for having me. So I usually start with, to tell me a little about myself is my name. Everybody's like, is your middle name really Tennessee? And I always joke when I was in elementary school, we still were learning cursive. And so the whole class was done, and I'm still on the E's and S's, like just thinking like, wow, why did my parents name me Tennessee? This is the worst. But it's been a great marketing and branding tool, since becoming an artist and really putting my work out there. I tell people if I introduce myself to them that if they forget my name, just yell out Tennessee if they ever see me, and I'll turn around. And so, but I'm originally from Knoxville, so if I haven't lived in Knoxville in a while, but I still call it home. I grew up in the mountains and hiked with my family all the time, so I just love East Tennessee, beautiful area. And but I'm married. I've got a phenomenal wife. Her name's Allison, and I have 5 kids, or we have 5 kids. I don't have 5 kids. We do. And just been incredibly blessed with just healthy kids and just a great family. And we have traveled all over the United States for art. We've lived in Knoxville and Jackson, Tennessee. We lived in Colorado for 3 years, Montana for 2 years, upstate New York for 2 years, and then here. So kind of how I got here was graduate school was in upstate New York, and landed a tenure track job here at UNA, which was a huge blessing coming right out of graduate school, and just fell in love with this area and this school. It's been a great a place to really raise a family, but also really develop my teaching and artistic career. And I guess that's kind of a synopsis of an introduction, I guess. So yeah.
Well, you kind of answered my question about what brought you to UNA.
Yeah. Well, I can expand a little bit on that, though. So I've always wanted to teach, even when I was, even in middle school. Like a couple of my friends and I, we were in a band together, and we had a really strong youth group, and I led a Bible study at times, and there was just something that was really lovely about gaining knowledge and then sharing knowledge, and I found that really early that I had a passion for that. It was so kind of kept in the back of my brain, like, you enjoy doing that. And my dad's a sculpture and ceramics professor as well as an artist. My mom's an educator, so it just kind of, I guess you could say it's in the family in terms of education, and so that had been in my brain, as well as just loving the arts. And so, following art around the country, and then knowing that I wanted to eventually get my MFA, my master's in fine arts, and so that I would be able to teach at the college level. There's something nice about, K through 12. It's like you get students in your class that are, by law supposed to be there. And when you come to college, that's typically by choice. And so there's this really great dialogue that's already happening in a classroom, because a student typically wants to be there. They're pursuing an education. Now, they might not love the class, but the fact that they're there, they're paying for it, or they're on scholarship, or those things, those are the things that are really excited me about teaching, because you were getting a different caliber of student than when you were at K through 12. And so UNA's given me a great opportunity to come here and teach and share my love for making art. So
you went to school in upstate New York. How did you find UNA?
Yeah, so typically like a typical second year in grad school, it was a 2-year program, and so there were 6 in my class in ceramics, and so 4 of us were applying for teaching jobs, and you apply to everything. It didn't even matter if you were qualified. You just put your applications out there. I think I had about 70 applications out while I was finishing up my MFA, and had some really great interviews at some different schools, and UNA came up and offered me the position, and here I am. So it was, again, I applied from everywhere from Anchorage, Alaska to Hawaii to anywhere you can think of in the United States, and to land somewhere, being from Knoxville and family in Tennessee, landing in the South and so close to Tennessee, it was, again, another blessing that you're just like, you're not in your parents' or your family's backyard, but you're close enough to visit at times. And so that, those kind of things, it's just kind of worked out wonderful. So,
yeah, that's honestly amazing. And like the rest is history. I just want to preface this. I want to use this platform to just say thank you, Professor Benson, because I had Professor Benson as a professor in Ceramics 1, and I just want to say right now, I haven't had the chance to talk to Professor Benson outside of class, after the class, but I just want to say thank you because he's definitely shaped and molded a different view for me in college, in school, in art, period. One thing I like to say before I get to the question is that like he would have a question we would have to come in every day, and he would ask us a question, and we would write it down, the answer, in our sketchbooks, and we would have a dialogue. And it was like he mentioned earlier, in college, it's like, we're kind of there by choice, and it just made everything more authentic and more awesome. Yeah. Because you get to see different viewpoints, you get to see different perspectives of questions and things, and he's honestly an amazing teacher, and I totally am thankful for taking his class because it's great. Awesome. It's awesome.
Well, thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Of course. But not only are you a professor, you are also part of what's called the SOTA steering committee. I wanted you to expand on that and kind of tell us what that is exactly.
Sure. Well, in fact, when the School of the Arts began to, even the development of, should we do this? Are we going to develop the School of the Arts, have the School of the Arts? I talked to my then chair, Chung Yao Chen, that I wanted to be involved in any manner possible. Again, I'm not a bystander in any means of the word. Like I want to be involved, and I want to be active, and because I think when you're engaged and you're listening to others' viewpoints and those kind of things, you're on the forefront of what's going to happen, and you can help mold and shape that. And that is exactly, in my eyes, what the steering committee, the SOTA steering committee is. It's really trying to kind of dialogue about what does our future look like? What are our goals and our desires for, as we continue to grow? What's it look like? Do we partner more? Do we, we've talked about the building of a unified complex of where all the arts are in buildings sharing a quad, and I love that idea. That's that cross collaboration that I think is so healthy. It doesn't matter where you are or in what discipline. That when we dialogue and discuss and hang out with others, that's how we grow. We're not in a vacuum, and so I see the SOTA steering committee as a body of members that truly care about the direction of our areas and how we can come together and grow a brand and a unit so that we grow together, like grow as one. And it's been great to be on it. We've really had some great ideas, and the future looks bright in that. And again, just feel very blessed to be able to be a part of that kind of group that's designing the future of our departments. So
I know that you've already helped the art department expand since your time here, and you helped with the new kilns and made that suggestion. So, like, what are your other goals as an artist as well as for the art department at UNA?
Well, I think one big one, and this is maybe a personal goal, as well as there's a couple other I would say in the studio realm, most of us are on board and agree, but we would love to move towards a Master's of Fine Arts here at UNA.
Wow.
And we've got the faculty here. I believe the caliber of work in the faculty that can bring that about. There's something about graduate school that just really changes a program. When I was in undergrad, the grad students were there more than the faculty were because they lived in the studio, right? Faculty went home to their spouses or their families and things, and they couldn't stay in the studio all day long. Well, when you're in grad school, nothing exists except for what you're pursuing in terms of education, right? And so I remember numerous times, firing a kiln and freaking out because a green flame was coming out of the kiln, and I didn't know what is this? I'm going to burn it down. And one of the grad students was there, and I pulled him in and was like, what's going on? He's like, first, calm down. And then he explained what was going on, and it was like, wow, this is great. I didn't have to call my professor, wake them up out of bed in the middle of the night, and they're mad at me because there's this almost secondary teacher here. And also just it's that next step in between being a professional and a student, in my eyes, is a grad student. They're higher than an undergrad student. They've got more education, but they're not fully in the workforce yet. And so there's really great dialogue that can happen. And so that's a big goal of mine, is to bring a grad program to at least the studio area for now, to bring that kind of quality of an education to our program and to our students. But I think there's plenty of others. I am 100% about what I just mentioned about the complex, like building the School of the Arts and having our building, because there is, when you go to a school and that the university invests and not only financially, but just in their time and their energies and their efforts and their outreach into the arts. If you're pursuing the arts, you want to go there. You're like, wow, this you're going to be supported here, and I believe if you're in a building that says, hey, we have designed this so that you can sit next to a trombone player and a painter and an opera singer. You three can sit there and work on your own thing and dialogue, and then maybe you come up with a musical out of it all. Right, like that's the kind of stuff that I believe would be just beautiful here in terms of really kind of developing a uniqueness, and I think that's what that would do. If you look around, Alabama, there's not a unique School of the Arts, right? But we could make something really special here by really combining our areas, building a new complex, and really making it somewhere like a destination is what I keep talking to my faculty about. It's like, can we get it on the map? Like, I want to go to UNA and study art, study the arts, because, wow, they have just great faculty, and they've got great facilities, and they've got a community that just supports one another. And that's attractive.
Yeah. I already love the idea that there's like student work shown on campus.
Absolutely.
Like we have the sculptures and 3D art and wall art. There's a mural out there, and I think that's really cool that we have started that around the art building.
Well, and think about too, if I think part of a goal or part of the role of a faculty is you are thinking about from the view of a prospective student. If you're a prospective student, you've got a lot of questions. I don't know, what about this? And then you go onto a campus and you've got faculty that are confident in their area and they're making work and they're in their field, and that students are developing community where they hang out after hours and talk and dialogue. It's so attractive that you want to be a part of it. Doesn't matter who you are. You're like, I want to go there for that. And I just think all that would just be a really great thing. So those are a couple things that I would love to see happen in the future within growing the School of the Arts, and I'm hoping that's going to come reality. I see it on the horizon. It's available in my eyes. It's just we've got to kind of move towards it in my eyes.
Exactly. I 100% agree. I've been in that sense of community, and I think that would definitely be something that's very positive in the community already. I think that's an amazing idea. That's actually really cool. I'm 100% behind that. But speaking of the students in the community, I remember like Lucas and Marissa, like they would sell their work in the GUC sometimes,
right.
and sometimes we would go by and look at that, and that was really interesting too. What are your thoughts about students seeking ways to show their work while they are students? Do you think that's important?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I talk to my intermediate and advanced students, and more my advanced students, I encourage them to apply to an exhibition every semester. And try to apply to an exhibition outside of the kind of Shoal area, right? The Shoals area, because there's something about getting a show downtown, and there's something about getting a show in Nashville or a piece in a show in Nashville, right? It's not that there's something wrong with having a show here. It's more that you're getting your work outside of something you're comfortable doing, right? Like we're comfortable walking downtown Florence and saying, "Hey, can I put this up here or something?" So, but it's also, I from day one. In my class, I talk about the real world, right? And I know I'm not the only one that this faculty should be talking about this and do. But if I'm not preparing a student for what's going to happen, that I talk all the time about you're going to get that diploma on a Saturday or a Friday now, right? You're going to walk across that stage, you're going to grab that diploma, and you're going to walk, and you're going to be, man, I'm pumped. I got my degree, and then guess what's going to happen? Monday morning, the alarm's going to go off, right? And you're gonna well, what do I do? So if I as a faculty member am not preparing my student for that Monday morning at 8:00, then I'm doing a disservice, right? And so I'm trying to get a student to apply for exhibitions, sell work at First Fridays, have work in the GUC for the Mother's Day sale or Christmas sales. It's getting their work out there so that they understand the difficulties of it, the joys of it. There's nothing like, somebody pulls their wallet out and hands you their credit card because they want that object that you made by hand in their life, and that they're willing to pay their hard-earned money to then take that and then go live with it. I mean, think about that. Like, that's just like, man, that's awesome. And so when a student experiences that, and don't hear me that that's about the money. It's not about the cash. It's about the fact that they worked hard for that cash, and they're saying that what you did is worth my hard-earned time. And there's so those are the kind of things is like getting students to exhibit, to sell their work, to put their work online. All these, go do a workshop or, do an internship, residencies, those kind of things, grad school, those are those things that it's preparing the student so that when they do enter the full-time workforce, whether that's a full-time artist, whether you teach, whether you're head of a gallery or a residency center or run an art center or a community center, any of these things, whatever you're doing, you're ready, you're prepared. And that's part of my curriculum. It's trying to get those students involved in those community activities so that it becomes second nature.
Well, as part of the community, tell us a little bit about your involvement with Florence and the Shoals, because I know you've opened some galleries, and I know that you've been part of some projects that are very important to our area and our growth as a community.
Yeah. So. UNA and Florence have a really interesting relationship, right? Like they both need one another, right? The Shoals needs UNA, and the UNA needs the Shoals. It's a collaboration. Doesn't matter who you talk to. Some think it should be less or more, but it's the fact that they both exist, and it's how they exist and how they interact is kind of where I fit in my eyes, and so it's anything from how can I help out Kilby. Like we had almost 50 Kilby students in the ceramics studio at the end of last semester, and they made ornaments and cups and bowls. And it's not because I just love having second and fifth graders in my classroom. I love that, but it's to give them a chance to be creative in a manner that maybe they don't get. It's to give them a material that they can play with in their hands and kind of go, wow, I didn't know you could actually work with this in the manner that they do.
This podcast has been brought to you by UNA School of the Arts. Executive producer is Mark Gallegos, co-produced by Salina Fugate and Tyler Hankins. Special thanks to Dr. Terrence Brown and the entire SOTA staff.